Hello everyone and welcome back to the arena for another season of Dungeons and Death Battles, the series where we search for the most lethal monster in all of Dungeons and Dragons. The rules are simple, the fight takes place in the arena, combatants start 30 feet apart, there is no fleeing the arena, and victory is achieved by kill only. In this third season of Dungeons and Death Battles, 16 deadly dungeon denizens will be duking it out to find out which one of them is worthy of being crowned the CR3 Arena Champion.
In today's fierce face-off, the Underworld's most loyal servant, the Hell Hound, will be taking on the Feywild's answer to violence personified, the repulsive Redcap, in a battle to find out which creature will be climbing the ladder into the quarterfinals of the CR3 season. Preparations for this bout are currently underway and the stands are beginning to fill. Our kobold hosts making an effort to welcome today's punters with what looks like leftover owlbear burgers. I shall have to inquire about that one later. You must also excuse my lower than normal tone, as unfortunately a sickness seems to be upon this commentator. Rest assured though, I am in a secured box so as to not bring ruin to you marvellous spectators. Plague masks are available upon request, although the kobold mafia do tell me that they may or may not work. Anyway, as the various teams scramble with their last minute preparations, we can jump into a quick creature analysis. And in one corner of the arena, the Hell Hound comes in with a 45 hit point average and 15 AC. Middling for this season and by no means standout. That being said, the Ferocious Fiend does possess some serious firepower, with a bite that seriously burns, plus of course its signature move, Fire Breath, which will see the Hound able to scorch any opponent with a 15-foot cone of incinerating heat, straight from the hells themselves. But even with this infernal menace on display, this is by no means a one-sided battle, as the Feywild has called forth the Redcap, a creature which exists as a pure manifestation of mortal bloodlust, existing purely to rampage in the name of murder, carnage, and chaos. The Redcap will be entering the arena with a hit point average of 45, so equal to the Hell Hound, but with the slightly lower AC of 14. Not that that will stop its planned rampage. To add, this cantankerous gnome-like weapon of hatred and evil sports a wicked sickle that it can use to dish out 3 attacks per round. As if that wasn't enough, you really do not want to get caught lacking around this thing, as the Redcap can make a full sprint with the sole purpose of putting the boots to you, with its iron-bound pursuit ability dealing a potent 3d10 plus 4 points of damage should you fail to avoid the blow. But with all that said, it looks like these pair of denizens have been wrangled into position, which does mean that it is time to roll for initiative, starting with the Hellhound and its +1 modifier. So without further ado, let's get started. Hellhound with a +1 to this. So rolling in, let's see what it can do. And that is an 18 +1 for 19. An incredibly strong start there from the Hellhound, and we will then hand over to the Redcap to see what it can do. Again, it is looking for a 19 right here on the dice, otherwise the Hellhound will be getting that pole position. So Redcap rolling in also has a +1 to this roll, and it was close with a 17 +1 for 18, not quite beating the Hellhound out there. What a pair of incredible rolls to start. Hopefully that is a sign of things to come in this battle, but with those rolls taken into consideration, it does mean that the Hellhound is of course going first, and it is going to waste absolutely no time at all into moving to within its 15-foot range of the Redcap, where it will of course belch forth its Fire Breath. The Hellhound with a 50-foot movement speed is very, very easily able to do that. We do have the very first saving throw, with the Redcap needing to beat a DC 12 dex save to avoid taking 66 points of fire damage. We'll be taking half on a failure anyway. So Redcap rolling in, looking to see if it can beat that DC 12 dex save. Does have a +1 to this. And once again with a 17, the Redcap is liking that number at the moment. Obviously that +1 topping that up to 18, which does mean that the Redcap will only be taking half damage from this Fire Breath. With all that being said, this is still 6d6 worth of fire damage, so an essential fireball coming in from the Hellhound right here. The Redcap of course taking half, but let's see what we roll through with 6d6 points of fire damage rolling in. And that is a pretty big pool of damage right there, with 5 + 5 for 10, 6 + 4 for another 10, topping that up to 20, with those 2 3s for 6, bringing that up to 26 points of damage, which of course is going to get halved due to the Redcap succeeding on that saving throw, down to just 13 points of damage. Still a very solid hit there from the Hellhound, which is going to bring the Redcap down to 32 hit points after that initial onslaught. And now, having only used 15 feet of its movement, the Hellhound is going to capitalize on this and is going to use the rest of it to move further away from the Redcap, utilizing some of its usual pack tactics strategy, which would usually see a group of the creatures encircle an opponent, keeping their beady eyes on them to wait and see what they do next. And as the Hellhound still has 35 feet of movement remaining, I think it is going to get well back and out of there. And we are going to hand over to the Redcap after that, which is not going to like this move from the Hellhound. But it is, of course, going to want to get into combat as quickly as possible. And because of this, it is going to take the dash action, which should see it get just within range of the Hellhound. But that will, of course, be its full turn right there. And we will now hand back over to the Hellhound, which is going to roll a d6 to see if it is able to recharge that fire breath. Again, a 5 or a 6 on this dice, and the Hellhound will have its fire breath back once again. And that is a 6. That is an excellent roll from the Hellhound, exactly what it wanted. And that answers the question as to what it is going to be doing this turn. Of course, unleashing its fire breath once again. It is going to stay where it is for the time being. Happy to knowledge that the Redcap is well within range. A premature gathering of dice there, as we do need to first roll in to see if the Redcap is able to dodge out the way once again. So of course, rolling in once again with a DC 12 dexterity saving throw to see if the Redcap can avoid the bulk of that fire breath attack. So once again, rolling in Redcap +1 to this, and that is a 12, right on the money, with that +1 bringing that up to a 13, which does of course mean that it will be taking half damage from this fire breath once again. And so we roll in once more 6d6 points of fire damage. Let's see what the Hellhound can do. And that is an even bigger hit than last time. Very, very strong attack there from the Hellhound, with 2 6s for 12, +5 for 17, plus another 5 for 22, and that third 5 for 27, of course, topped up by that 1 to 28 points of damage. The Hellhound is absolutely dishing it out right here. Although once again, apparently due to the Redcap's fleet-footedness, and it's going to reduce that damage down to 14 points only, which will leave the Redcap on 18 hit points remaining. And with this in mind, it will be very, very keen to start dealing some damage of its own, and I have a certain feeling that that is possibly about to happen. So we will be handing over to the Redcap, which now standing toe-to-toe with the Hellhound is going to start to weigh in with its wicked sickle attacks. And so it does get 3 of these, and so we will be rolling in with 3 d20s to see what happens. Redcap rolling in 3 wicked sickle attacks against the Hellhound. Does get a +6 to these. And that is a very nice line right there, with an 11, a 13, and a 16, all breaking through the Hellhound's AC of 15 with that +6 modifier. And that will essentially be 64 plus 12 points of damage. Some big rolls coming through once again. So let's see how much blood the Redcap can spill right here. With those 3 attacks landing, that does of course mean 64 plus 12 points of slashing damage coming straight towards the Hellhound. And that is a lot of 2s. That is very, very average damage right there. I think every single dice has rolled a 2, which does make for 12 points of damage, plus another 12 points of damage for 24 total, which is going to reduce the Hellhound right down to 21 hit points after that onslaught. But that does mean we will be handing back over to the Hellhound once again. But first things first, let's see if the Hellhound can once again recharge that fire breath attack. Once again, a 5 or a 6 on this dice, and a 3. That is not going to be enough this time, which does mean that the Hellhound is limited to using its bite attack. And having already spilt the Redcap's blood, and being a size larger, the Hellhound and its lack of intelligence here is going to weigh in that it currently has the advantage, and is going to press on, making a bite attack against its opponent. Hellhounds are stubborn, bloodthirsty creatures, and once embroiled in the thick of combat, they are incredibly unlikely to leave it, regardless of the outcome. And so rolling in with a +5 to this right here, looking to be that AC of 14. And that is an 11 plus 5 for 16, which will absolutely break a 14 AC. And so we do now have 1d8 plus 3 points of piercing damage, plus 2d6 points of fire damage. So rolling in right here again, some more damage on the table against the Redcap. And that is meaty, with that 7 plus 3 for 10, plus 2 for 12, plus 3, bringing that all the way up to 15 points of damage, which is going to drop the Redcap down to just 3 hit points. The Hellhound has really gone in on that attack, and the Redcap is suffering because of it, teetering on the brink of life and death. And the Hellhound is not a creature to be easily scared off. It is a creature that has been bred to remain in combat for as long as possible, and thus it is going to elect to remain fighting in close combat against the Redcap here, as we do hand over once again. The creature just totally unwilling to back down while it feels it's winning the fight. But that does of course mean that the Redcap will once again get 3 more of its wicked sickle attacks as we pass over. Once again with those +6s, looking to be an AC of 15, as we witness once again 2 creatures just locked in mortal melee combat. that. Jaws versus Blade. Tale as old as time here in the arena. But once again, we roll in with the wicked sickle attacks. 3 d20s coming through right here. Plus 6 to hit against the Hellhound's AC of 15. And that is not great at all. That is really not great from the Redcap. It looks like it's fumbled the bag a little bit here. With the highest roll of 7 on those 3 attacks. Only getting brought up to 13 with that plus 6 modifier. Which means that actually none of those attacks have hit. The Hellhound seems to be doing something right here, as it's just able to avoid all of the Redcap's attacks. Either that or the decrepit Fey Dweller is simply just running out of energy in its battle here. But with that said, the dice have spoken, and we will be handing over to the Hellhound once again, which is of course going to roll in to see if it recharges its fire breath attack. Again, a 5 or a 6 on this, and a 1 is not going to cut it, which does of course mean it's going to be going in with that bite attack. Morton Jaws heading with furious rage towards the Redcap here. Once again, a plus 5 on this, looking to be that AC of 14. Let's see if it fares better than the Redcap. And that is a 5, which is only going to bring it to a 10, which is also not going to hit home. As we hand over to the Redcap once more, it looks like it has been let in with a chance once again here, as it rolls in with yet again 3 d20s to see if it can put down a strike against the Hellhound. This is a truly exciting bout here, as the two monsters just dip, duck, dive, and dodge under each other, each one not wanting to get struck down first. The Redcap 3 d20s coming through, plus 6s looking to be the AC of 15, and that is more like it. With the lowest roll of a 10 there, of course, that plus 6 bringing it up to a 16. All of those attacks have hit this time. A completely polarized turn for the Redcap here. And once more, that does mean it is going to be rolling in with 6d4 plus 12 points of slashing damage. Let's see if Violence Incarnate can end the Hellhound right here. Oh, there are some mighty and some not quite so mighty rolls there, with 2 1s for 2, plus an additional 2 for 4, plus 4 for 8, and another for 12, and then plus that 3 for 15 points of damage. But it does, of course, have that plus 12 modifier, which is going to bring that all the way up to 27 points of damage, as that wicked sickle just hurtles towards the Hellhound with lethal intent. Those 3 hits striking true, and bringing the Hellhound down from 21 hit points to 0, as the Redcap's absolute hellishness fights through here, defeating the odds, while it remains on just 3 hit points, to carve the Hellhound into nothing more than pieces of flaming meat on the ground, which will no doubt return to the Hells to reconstitute into something much more ferocious. But the inner workings of the 9 Hells aside, that does mean that the Redcap has won tonight's battle here in Dungeons and Death Battles, and will be ascending through into the quarter-final round, where it will be facing off against the Manticore in a future battle. But with all that said, thank you very, very much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this battle, in which the Redcap was indeed able to put the boots to the Hellhound without even using its boots. And I do hope you will join me again next time when we kick off the quarter-final rounds, in which the Season 2 champion, the Dwergar Mindmaster, will be taking on the Displacer Beast to see which creature will win the first spot in the semi-finals. But until then, if you did enjoy what you saw, please consider dropping a like on the video, subscribing to the channel, and dropping a comment with your thoughts below. We do also have a Patreon in which you can head over to and use the various polls over there to show your support for your favorite dungeon denizen. But with all that said, thank you once again very much for watching, and I will see you in another video very soon.